Book 8, Chapter 6 of the Female Quixote, Volume 2. This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Female Quixote, Volume 2, by Charlotte Lennox. Book 8, Chapter 6. Containing something which at first sight may possibly puzzle the reader. The Countess was as good as her word, and 2 days after sent a card to Arabella, importing her design to wait on her that afternoon. Our heroine expected her with great impatience, and the moment she entered the room, flew towards her with a graceful eagerness, and straining her in her arms, embraced her with all the fervour of a long-absent friend. Sir Charles and Mr. Glanville were equally embarrassed at the familiarity of this address, but observing that the Countess seemed not to be surprised at it, but rather to receive it with pleasure, they were soon composed. "You cannot imagine, lovely stranger," said Arabella to the Countess as soon as they were seated, "with what impatience I have longed to behold you since the knowledge I have received of your rare qualities, and the friendship you have been pleased to honour me with. And I may truly protest to you that such is my admiration of your virtues, that I would have gone to the farthest part of the world to render you that which you with so much generosity have condescended to bestow upon me." Sir Charles stared at this extraordinary speech, and not being able to comprehend a word of it, was concerned to think how the lady to whom it was addressed would understand it. Mr. Glanville looked down, and bit his nails in extreme confusion. But the Countess, who had not forgot the language of romance, returned the compliment in a strain as heroic as hers. "The favour I have received from fortune," said she, "in bringing me to the happiness of your acquaintance, charming Arabella, is so great, that I may rationally expect some terrible misfortune will befall me, seeing that in this life our pleasures are so constantly succeeded by pains, that we hardly ever enjoy the one without suffering the other soon after." Arabella was quite transported to hear the Countess express herself in language so conformable to her own. But Mr. Glanville was greatly confounded, and began to suspect she was diverting herself with his cousin's singularities. And Sir Charles was within a little of thinking her as much out of the way as his niece. "Misfortunes, madam," said Arabella, "are too often the lot of excellent persons like yourself. The sublimest among mortals, both for beauty and virtue, have experienced the frowns of fate. The sufferings of the divine Statira, or Cassandra, for she bore both names, the persecutions of the incomparable Cleopatra, the distresses of the beautiful Candace, and the afflictions of the fair and generous Madonna, are proofs that the most illustrious persons in the world have felt the rage of calamity. It must be confessed," said the Countess, "that all those fair princesses you have named were for a while extremely unfortunate. Yet in the catalogue of these lovely and afflicted persons you have forgot one who might with justice dispute the priority of sufferings with them all. I mean the beautiful Elisa, Princess of Parthia." "Pardon me, madam," replied Arabella, "I cannot be of your opinion. The Princess of Parthia may indeed justly be ranked among the number of unfortunate persons, but she can by no means dispute the melancholy precedence with the divine Cleopatra. For in fine, madam, what evils did the Princess of Parthia suffer, which the fair Cleopatra did not likewise endure, and some of them haply in a greater degree. If Elisa, by the tyrannical authority of the king her father, saw herself upon the point of becoming the wife of a prince she detested, was not the beautiful daughter of Antony, by the more justifiable tyranny of Augustus, likely to be forced in the arms of Tiberius, a proud and cruel prince, who was odious to the whole world as well as to her? If Elisa was for some time in the power of pirates, was not Cleopatra captive to an inhuman king, who presented his sword to the fair breast of that divine princess, worthy the adoration of the whole earth? And in fine, If Eliza had the grief to see her dear Artaban imprisoned by the order of Augustus, Cleopatra beheld with mortal agonies her beloved Coriolanus enclosed amidst the guards of that enraged prince, and doomed to a cruel death. "'Tis certain, madam," replied the Countess, "that the misfortunes of both these princesses were very great, though, as you have showed me with some inequality, and when one reflects upon the dangerous adventures to which persons of their quality were exposed in those times, one cannot help rejoicing that we live in an age in which the customs, manners, habits, and inclinations differ so widely from theirs, that 'tis impossible such adventures should even happen. Such is the strange alteration of things, that some people, I dare say, at present, cannot be persuaded to believe there ever were princesses wandering through the world by land and sea in mean disguises, carried away violently out of their father's dominions by insolent lovers. Some discovered sleeping in forests, others shipwrecked on desolate islands, confined in castles, bound in chariots, and even struggling amidst the tempestuous waves of the sea, into which they had cast themselves to avoid the brutal force of their ravishers. Not one of these things having happened within the compass of several thousand years, people unlearned in antiquity would be apt to deem them idle tales, so improbable do they appear at present. Arabella, though greatly surprised at this discourse, did not think proper to express her thoughts of it. She was unwilling to appear absolutely ignorant of the present customs of the world before a lady whose good opinion she was ardently desirous of improving. Her prepossessions in her silence and downcast eyes gave the Countess to understand part of her thoughts, who, for fear of alarming her too much for that time, dropped the subject, and turning the conversation on others more general, gave Arabella an opportunity of mingling in it with that wit and vivacity which was natural to her when romances were out of the question. End of Book 8, Chapter 6.